Hey Libra, welcome to your mid-April check-in. This is a general reading, so take what resonates, leave the rest behind. You may get a little, you may get a lot. Be sure to check your sun, moon, rising, and Venus, even your midheaven. That's something I like to do personally. Um, but without further ado, let us hop into this. It's so funny because the um, the word that kind of came in from spirit was like crisis mode, which was very interesting. And when I think of the word crisis, it's typically because crisis is when it's like crunch time. There's a lot of pressure, probably because we've overlooked certain risks associated with our decision making, right? And so it can also have to do with our mindset, whether we are more motivated when we're in crisis mode, or that we inevitably get ourselves into it because of whatever risks we're averse to taking due to some self-identifying factor, whatever that may be. Anywho, let's get into it and see what we've got for you here. We're going to start by pulling a few cards, starting off with 3 cards, just to get those foundational energies in play, right? So we have the Nine of Pentacles, the Three of Wands reversed, and the Hierophant reversed. And it's very interesting. So we are in Taurus season now. That's when I've recording this video here on the 19th. And so the Hierophant is associated with Taurus. And with it being in the reverse here, I almost feel like there's some kind of nugget of wisdom being revealed to you during this time, Libra. And it may have something to do that helps you finally get your ship out there, right? To finally not be the one kind of seeing other people's successes, seeing other people getting out and about and doing things and living their life. It's like you're finally going to be able to join them, to join forces, perhaps even in some way. I feel like maybe there are 1 to 2 other people along with you that have perhaps been waiting to take some type of leap, to create, have been itching for some movement, right? Some excitement, a chance to put something out. And so I feel maybe there's a chance for collaboration, with you maybe leading the way or leading the forces in some capacity. But with that, we have started off this Nine of Pentacles, which I completely kind of looked over here. Now, I feel like it's been necessary for you perhaps to take some time and really separate yourself from a situation, because I'm kind of I'm really engaged with this little like falcon here that has the cap on its head. That way it doesn't run away, because it's like sometimes when we maybe spend too much time on social media or listening to news or overwhelming ourselves with information, we may kind of involuntarily get excited and run off in a direction. But I feel like you're starting to, or either you have been learning the ways in which you can accept where you are and recognize that that has everything you need in order to make something happen. You're kind of seeing all of the things immediately at your disposal, seeing the world for what it is, and allowing it to direct you, allowing your present circumstances to direct you and guide you. It's no more of this forcing things to happen, or jumping on the bandwagon type of energy, because you may have been accustomed to maybe scattering yourself among many different hobbies, friendships, interests, things like that. That has ultimately not allowed you to be a master of your ability to capture something or bring in the messages or the news that you seek. And so with that, I feel like you're allowing yourself to work cooperatively with your surroundings, with what you've got, right? And it's interesting because here at the bottom of the deck we have the Five of Wands reversed, which to me just signifies that maybe you know, you've been allowing your emotions to kind of get in the way of being able to move or to really figure things out. Perhaps you've lost joy in something, and it could be because of something you felt like was lacking in the situation. But at the end of the day, it's just some type of emotional information that you've been needing to process. And Taurus season is all about slowing down, right? In order to renew our faith, in order to make be pragmatic in our approach, and to believe in something that can see us through the long term, see us through any type of time. It doesn't have to be like a difficult time. I'm also feeling like there's a chance that it's interesting kind of what I'm getting here. Let me sit with this for just a moment, because I'm looking at this Three of Wands and this Hierophant card here. And it's very interesting because if you notice, the figure in the Three of Wands has this little kind of like halo or like bit around their head. And then I'm also focused on like kind of like the balding like friar or what have you, whatever they're called in the Hierophant. And feeling like this could be you. It's like maybe it's time to separate yourself from a lot of the memories and things that have been sitting on the top of your head, times where you really felt like, there's been a cycle perpetuating in you being separate from the world, or separate from kind of going out and serving it up, so to speak, whether it be your craft, your genius, your artistry, your knowledge. And it could just be that once you release some of that stuff and you allow yourself to have a more direct tie to how and why things are happening for you on a larger level, on a more cosmic scale, from a more faith-based perspective, right? Then you're able to break through whatever it is that you feel, whatever reality you feel like you committed to, on even an emotional level here, Libra. That's kind of what I'm getting from that. And so your root chakra is being activated in such a way to where it's like you're remembering who you are and what you personally are here to set out and do. And it's not based off of what all these other ships are going off, whatever lands they're going to. It's like there's a different destination in mind for you here. And so it's like, stop trying to follow the crowd. It's perhaps that because of that, you haven't been able to fully go out on your own and take that next adventure. Here we have the Eight of Swords reversed. It's like you realize no one's going to save you. No one's going to take you along for the journey with them. You have to start being your own, agent of change here, Libra. So it's a very empowering message is what I'm getting for you here. All right, so let's see. And it's like, I feel like you're just creating, a natural bridge from where you are now to where you want to be in the coming months. And I feel like, by the end of the year, if not within the next 3 months, at least within the next 3 months, you're going to start seeing signs of that. 3 weeks or 3 months. But definitely by the end of the year, you're going to find the fruits of your labor here. Let's see. It's so funny. I just noticed the little tiny snail on the bottom of the card here, the Nine of Pentacles. I feel like it comes to my awareness every so often, but it's also saying like pace yourself, pace yourself, as well as to not get salty, because that can actually eat away at you and create whatever progress or whatever you do set out to do. It can make it a very painful process. So there's something here about making sure that you are emotionally aware as you move through stuff, and not just trying to push through for the sake of making something happen, right? So oracle cards we have here, we have originality here in the reverse, we have power, and we have riches here in the reverse as well. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so I mean, what it is here is that I feel like it's time for you to stop working the same ways in which you have, and you got to work with what you've got. And maybe unorthodox at times, but even the best like composers and people that have created things, we're always moving, we're always breaking through expectations, right? Let's see. And then with this power card, another thing that I'm feeling here is like there's time to recognize the power in being like kind of a new generation, a pioneer of sorts. There's some type of challenge up ahead that I feel like may be relatively new to you and may not be something that other people around you who you feel like may be more successful, or things seem a lot easier for them, have something that they haven't necessarily experienced, but it's something that's going to be very unique to you in order for you to recognize something about your own personal power. So it's an empowering type of event that comes into being. And I feel like it involves you, whether you've kind of gone off on, to visit someone or traveled somewhere. I know that's not possible for many, but I feel like there is a coming together of like elements. And I feel that it has a lot to do with recognizing, what you receive versus what you put out, and recognizing the all of the elements that are at play, like recognizing what your process is. Because I feel like there's a lack of process at times, and sometimes you do stuff simply because it's a bit of like muscle memory, or because it's easier, because if you were to do things really your own way, there would be, a lot of self-doubt, or kind of like, mulling things over. And it's so interesting because one thing that I heard recently, and I find this true even in my practice at times, is that sometimes doubt itself can actually be an intuitive experience, because our mind is constantly trying to protect ourselves. So when we doubt something, it could be because it's out of the predictable, tried and true wheelhouse of safety and certainty, by following our intuition, right? 'Cause sometimes it makes no sense. Sometimes, again, you got to take that risk in order to reap the reward, instead of, moving away from fear and doubt and getting into crisis mode, right? Avoiding, calculated risks. And so that's what I'm kind of feeling here. It's like that whole theme is coming up again. And here with riches, with this card here, I feel like a lot of what you see out in society is ripe with information about understanding yourself right now. And I don't feel like always we're taking that into account. Instead of we're taking time to judge that in order to maintain some type of concept of self here, Libra. And so I feel like it's really important for you to get out of this fantasy of separation here, in order for you to assume a certain amount of responsibility within your own life, in order to reform either your ways of being, of doing things, to adjust your relationships in some way. Because I feel like there are also some relationships in your life that you can actually, rebuild or find solace in, but it could just be that you're not looking at it in a way that is actually suitable or conducive to any type of reconciliation. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like you coming together and being like, yeah, forgive and forget, all's good. But for you to realize why that was happening in your life and what you had to learn from it. I feel like there's still a little bit of resistance to that here, because, at times it keeps us safe to put ourselves in the space of I have been wronged, but how did I wrong myself? And it's not in order to instill guilt, but it's in order to bring balance into a situation. It's not as a means to victim blame, but to bring balance into a karmic situation. I feel like is what's important to bring about here. I also feel like something about having to deal in having to move from a specific process that seems very mechanical or mechanized into something that is way more creative and free flowing. Something that has, I don't want to say a softness of approach, but something that at times may be a little, I don't want to say confusing either, but kind of hazy, kind of foggy. There's something about these clouds on this riches card that's really drawing me in, and they're like purpley pink. And so I feel like it's just also kind of like that whole idea of loving on your crown, your guides wanting to know that they're there for you, that there is a plethora of opportunity and chances for harmony for you. It's just like a matter of, are you willing to innovate and restructure your life? Are you willing to take the time to actually, watch each and every step that you take and have taken, and be willing to revise a little bit, to recognize where those windows of opportunity, those calculated risks, those interesting places of doubt or intuition, disguised as doubt, creep in throughout your journey, throughout your process. And all right, so here we have the Eight of Pentacles reverse, the Nine of Wands, and the Hierophant again, which is wild. What? I love when that happens. Um, so with that, I feel like you're turning situations around, figuring out what you truly believe in. I feel like perhaps there is a doorway opening. I feel like someone might have been kind of gatekeeping to you, or perhaps you to them. I'm not quite sure. But I feel like whatever instance or block is there is a bit of an illusion. It's not what it seems to be. So play around with your perspectives there if you encounter some type of situation like that. I'm also feeling like my ankle kind of hurts. So I feel like there could be fear in moving forward or stepping forward with something. Maybe feeling like you're not going to have the support that you need. Maybe feeling like you'll be ostracized in some way, or that it's just not going to fit anywhere. I feel like maybe there's a little bit of a feeling of being an outcast in certain spaces. And I feel like Spirit just wants you to let you know, like, that's actually one of the most powerful positions to be in, sometimes, because that is the sacred energy of like the disruptor, the person who frees others from the restraints, the constructs, all of the things that keep people, working inside of a box, being part of a machine, right? And so this Eight of Pentacles and this Nine of Swords is just telling me, like, working through yourself, your anxieties and doubts, and seeing what potential lies within them. I feel like in a way you have to work backwards from the ways in which you've learned to work, because that's one of the things that's kept you kind of on the sidelines watching everything happening, and then getting into panic mode, scrambling and scattering, and just kind of taking off in any direction that seems like it might be, just because it's available to you, right? Just because it's available to you sometimes doesn't mean it's always right. It just could be that you're calling it in as a distraction from what the real course or purpose is. So be mindful of that, and recognize what those activities, situations, people are, and allow yourself to practice maintaining some space for them. See what else opens up. Sometimes we have to just simplify, have moments of simplifying our life, and like trying just one thing at a time in order to know what's truly right for us, in order to recognize what's truly opening up for us. Because if we're doing too many things, like for example, taking too many different supplements and wondering which one is actually the best for you, wondering which one is helping with the aches and pains, what's helping with the anxiety, what's helping this, what's helping that. You don't know if you're constantly taking, several different supplements at once and not really figuring out what is working, what's helping you. That way you can actually focus on healing instead of trying to blanket everything and then potentially coming up with more side effects or issues along the way. I'm not a medical professional. That was just kind of the metaphor that came up. So I'm using it. I'm going with it. um, but yeah, I do feel like there is a pathway through doubt and through fear that you have got to lean into, Libra. And it's going to be exhilarating. It's going to be helpful. It's going to turn your world upside down and give you a renewed sense of hope. And you're going to have a lot of wonderful things to learn and accomplish and experience along the way. So enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. At the bottom here of the deck here, we have the Two of Swords, which is just telling me, you've taken some time, you haven't really made a full-on decision or commitment to something. Interesting. Honking. Yeah, I love it when different sounds happen in the during readings, because it's like maybe something or someone's calling you. It's like, get ready for the ride, get ready to go. Are you ready? And then we have this Page of Swords here on the other side, and it's like, you have to be the one to take clear and committed action here. You cannot waver, you cannot falter. Yes, people will be watching, but that doesn't mean that no one's gonna feel delight in witnessing, this next chapter of your life. And don't fear the criticism that may come with it. I forgot to also look here, bottom of the deck. in this oracle deck is the vision card, and this is the sun in Pisces. So illuminating our real, like, shedding light and feeling enlightenment toward what our true vision is, our goals, and releasing all illusions, you know. And illusions usually creep within the shadow self. They're obscured, they're suppressed, they're repressed, they're ignored completely, and I feel like this represents a shift in that. And on the other side, we have the fulfillment card, which is Saturn in Sagittarius. So I almost feel like, you know, maybe there's some situation that you feel kind of indebted to, where you kind of have to continue on. Maybe like there's something where you have some type of attachment or a contract that's kind of weighing heavily on you. And it's like, you know what, figure out what it would take to break that, because maybe it's not serving you. Sometimes the have tos are not the get tos. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but I think it's very important to recognize what you take seriously and where your integrity lies, but also in the same vein where it actually hinders you, where we actually use it as an excuse sometimes to not break free from unfair situations, right? Or break through from unfair situations. So just some things to consider here, Libra. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check the description box below for lots of links and information, all that jazz. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.